Happy New Year. It is I, your host, Brandy, aka B Jules, on Words That Speak platform. And I also have a friend. Let's say hi. This is a stray that we picked up, well, that my oldest son found a year ago now. We have a relationship battle. Some days are good, some days are bad. But he is a Pomsky Husky mixed with a Pomsky. So he is our little woofie. You see when he puts his ears, well, if he would let me do it. When he puts his ears, look. Okay, it's not about you this time. All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and for anyone who is going to catch the repeat of this episode. I hope you have your coffee or your tea. It is cold. We have a cold front here. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. So I got my yogi tea, and it says, know that you are a child of the universe, but I say, know that you are a child of God. All right, so I got my notes. And I want to give some updates before we start the episode. So I have come up with a name for the podcast because the platform is Words That Speak, but I've been trying to come up with a name that defines what I'm doing on it. And so the name is going to be Her Divine Journey. So it is a journey of all of us to walk our lives out, our journeys out with God, being in this world, but not of this world. And I felt that it just hit my heart just right. So I want to use that. So we are going to be moving forward. It is going to be called Her Divine Journey on the platform Words That Speak, hosted by your girl. All right, so I am so excited to start 2025 with all of you. And today I want to go into how to begin this year with intention, grace, and focus on striving for excellence, not perfection. So we'll talk about setting goals, making room for error, and staying steadfast as women. And then I want to talk about how us as women, we wear so many hats. We have so many different roles. And we've got to stay steadfast, and we still have to show up in excellence, right? And I think that's a big, important thing for us as women, no matter what your age is, no matter what your season is, you knowing who you are and what your boundaries are, what you're capable of, and when to say no, okay? Some of us say yes too much. So I think just having that for this year and putting God first and putting you first, right? And plus I'll share a bit about my own journey and how I'm planning to kick off the year with a 21-day fast. So let's get into it, y'all. So my first point, excellence versus perfection. So one of the first thing I want to highlight is the difference between excellence and perfection. Perfection is unattainable. Only God can do that. It is a heavy burden that often leads to burnout and frustration. On the other hand, excellence is about giving your best. Doing. Ow. Hold on, the dog is free. See, he's hurting himself. Ow, and he scratched me. I don't think I'm going to let him come on here next time. Okay, back to what I was saying. It's a heavy burden that often leads to burnout and frustration. And on the other hand, excellence is about giving your best, doing what you can with the resources God has given you, and trusting Him to fill in the gaps. I love the verse Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, not for human masters. Oh, excuse me, I messed that all up. Let me rewind that. Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Whew, that one hits me when it comes to where I work. And as an employee, how I can feel this should be done, why aren't we doing this, why is it like this, and voicing myself. I don't come off rude. I know how to speak, but I feel like I speak a little too much. And this year, God has told me to shut my mouth, to work for him and not for them, and to just let him do, because God can do more with what I surrender than what I want to control. I hope that hits someone. God can do more with what you surrender to him than what you are trying to hold on to and control. And so this year, I'm going to use this verse again because I've used it in the past and it has worked, especially in those frustrating moments. To know that we do the work for the Lord and not for any human being. I think we can take that verse and use it in our everyday lives. But for me personally, I use it for work. And it can bring me back to being grounded in God. So this verse reminds us that God doesn't expect us to be perfect. Only he can do that. But he does call us to excellence. And that means putting our hearts into our work and trusting him with the results. Point 2, leaving room for error. As we set our goals for the year, it is so important that we leave room for error. I've learned this lesson the hard way. And this year, that is going to be part of my planning, is to leave room for error. I want to share a moment from 2024 where I was so hard on myself. And I am in the process of writing about it because I can articulate it better in writing. But I would like to share a little bit about it. So if I make a mistake, I tend to be good with that. Like, hey, we all make mistakes. We're human. But when I know better and I don't do better, that's the area for me that God showed me in 2024 that I don't have compassion for myself. Like, I am like a corporal punishment. Like, I want take her head off, go to prison, lock the key, lock the door, throw away the key. Like, there's no grace for you. How could you do this? You know, and I'm so hard on myself because I know better, but I didn't do better, right? And so that is a really hard area for me. And this year, it wasn't so many of them like I have had in my past. But even the few that I can remember, man, it stole my peace. It stole my joy. It stole so much from me. You know, a day or two that I was just in emotions and trying to get out. And it was horrible. It was just horrible. And I don't want to say I have this perfectionism about me with my life, but when it comes to walking with God, I do. I feel like, oh, well, I've already beat that temptation. I'm good. It can't get to me. Or I've already done that. I've already grown in this area. I can't fall backwards. And that is a lie. We are human, you know, and we are going to fall short. Like, everyone falls short of the glory of God. I'm not going to get to every single mountain peak, and I'm not going to do it in this perfect way and that I'm never going to sin again, because that's unheard of. But my mind tells me otherwise. And so this year, I am giving myself room for error. That there are going to be moments where I knew better and maybe I just didn't do what I should have. But that's where grace comes in, right? And grace is another word that I am having to learn more about and understand it for myself and actually accept it from God. It is an area that is hard for me. I can't say I beat myself up as much as I once did. And I have gotten over my past shames and like past regrets or past guilts, but new ones that emerge, I battle with that. How do I give myself grace? How do I forgive myself faster and not hold myself down, because then that gives the enemy infiltration, right? And so now he can get in my head. Now he's got me down for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, a day, 2 days, and now I'm off track, and now I'm having to rebuild, and that's not how God works. And so looking back, I realized God wasn't asking me to be perfect. He just wanted me to keep going even when I stumbled, to pick myself up and love on myself. And that is where I'm at for 2025. That is one of my biggest growth areas that I want to see, is room for error, giving myself more grace when I know better and I don't do better. And even in my everyday mistakes that may come that I don't know about, right? So here's a tip. Instead of beating yourself up when things don't go as planned, reframe mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. Ask yourself, what can I take from this experience? How can I do better next time? God's grace is sufficient, even when I fall short. All right, so point 3, women in their many hats. So, as women, we wear a lot of hats. And sometimes we're the head of the household. Sometimes we're the one everyone turns to for help. And it can feel like we're constantly being pulled in millions of directions. But here's the thing. You cannot pour from your empty cup. You have to make space to take care of yourself. This might look like journaling, going for a walk, or simply sitting in silence with God. So I encourage you this year to get like a calendar. Like I usually have, I don't have it with me at the moment, but I usually have like a book. It's a little bigger than this, but it's a calendar inside. And I journal out, like I put out self-care time. I started that maybe a few years ago, and it really works, because if you don't plan yourself, someone else will, or something else will. And so you've got to put you first this year. And that means possibly saying no to certain people, certain places, certain things. That means spending time with God. Your morning time is, I'm telling you, that's the only way to start your day. You've got to start it with God. You've got to be in his word. You've got to speak to him, and maybe the morning routine, you can't find that time in the morning. Like I've mentioned before, I'm not an early bird like that. Usually about 7, 8 o'clock is when I would prefer to wake up. But my house, I really don't have to wake up till about 6:30. But I decided I'm going to start waking up at 5:30. That gives me an hour of no one up, and me with God, me with working out, my yoga, my journaling, writing, whatever I want to do. Or maybe I spend that whole time in prayer and I didn't even know it. But I do give myself that extra time when no one else is up. But maybe that can't work for you in your circumstance. Maybe the car ride, instead of putting on music, instead of listening to a podcast, instead of listening to a sermon, like you and God connect. You and God, and especially paying attention to traffic and the way people drive, right? And getting out of character and speaking words about others that you do not know. That is something you should work on if that is you. The road rage, as I'm talking about it, the, tweet from heaven just came down. But spending time with him, like you've got to carve out that time. I'm starting to have my evenings with him, because I've got my mornings mastered, I feel. But my evenings, I'm trying to get that, together, like turning off the music, or not listening to something, like talking to God on my way home, or like in my shower, or just giving myself some extra moments just to talk with him, to fill my cup up so that I can go out there and fill others. Another tip, set boundaries. You're not going to be able to help everyone, and you're not going to be able to show up everywhere or do it all. And that's okay. Prioritize what truly matters and let the rest go. God never intended for you to carry everything on your own. And not everyone's going to realize that, but as long as you do, then those people have to respect it. And if they don't, then maybe that's another conversation with God about where is their place in your life. Should they be in it or should they not be? Or where do you have to rearrange them? Point 4, fasting and spiritual renewal. Fasting should be occurring throughout the year. It is talked about several times in the Bible. It is something that is a true devotion to God, that you are surrendering yourself, your desires, and focusing on Him. And so my church always starts it out in January, a 21-day fast. And it's such a powerful way to gain clarity and draw closer to God. So I've got a couple questions, as far as things. I don't have my word for the year yet. I'm praying on that. Like, what is it this year? I have ideas around what I want to do this year and where I want to grow, but I just haven't gotten the word just yet. So you can join me on the 21-day fast. If you go to the church at Crossover Church, they will have .com. They have like a whole fasting guide on how to do it. Or maybe you want to do like a juicing fast, or you want to fast from social media, gossip, anger, your mouth. There's a whole bunch of ways you can do it. I think this year I'm going to be doing the Daniel fast again, and going that route. But I'm excited and I want to hear from God. I want to know, like, these are what I want to do, God. Like, where are you in this, right? So I think that's super important. And then trying to keep up with it throughout the year, right? Maybe quarterly, maybe, every 6 months you should do it. Like, I can say I probably should have fasted a little bit more last year. So this year I definitely want to calendar that in when I'm ready to fast again and see about God. Because I think I only did maybe 3 last year. So I want to, and we have 12 months in a year. So I want to do a little bit more about that. And if it's your first time fasting or ever hearing about this, definitely look into it. I mean, it's not for the weak of heart, especially if you're deciding to go without eating. You actually see how strong your body and your desires are and how you have to tell yourself no. And it can get very frustrating at first. I remember the first time I even tried to do a fast, I went without eating. I got a headache. I was feeling nauseated. But once I kept going, man, there was something that happened that is hard to describe in words, but it was worth it. But it was hard. It wasn't easy, but it's so worth it in the end. It really is. It really is if you stick to it. So approach fasting with grace. Don't focus on getting it right. Focus on connection with God. If you stumble, that's okay. Just keep going. So I'll be asking myself some reflection questions during the fast, and I encourage you to do the same. Like, what areas of my life need God's refinement? Where do I need to let go of perfection and trust Him more? Use this time to listen to God's voice and let Him guide your plans for the future. So my last point, staying steadfast. Point number 5. Let's talk about perseverance. It's easy to give up when things get tough, especially when you feel like you're falling short. But staying steadfast is what produces fruit. James 1:4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." So a lot of people have all of these resolutions. January is going to be this is going to be my year. January, they write out all of these expectations, and majority of them are unrealistic. And by February, they're right back to where they were in 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, and beyond, right? So to stay steadfast and to keep it, because you're going to have to keep yourself, right? You're going to have to be in line with God for Him to keep you, to keep yourself, right? Here's a tip. Break your goals into smaller, manageable steps and celebrate your progress along the way. Remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about staying faithful and consistent. So in my closing, I want to give some updates. If you notice, I did change my hair color. It is like a plum, and I trimmed my dreads, so they are not as long as they were, because they were like reaching my butt, and it was getting to be too much. I love the look, but it was getting to be a little too much for me. So I trimmed about 3 or 4 inches off, so they're like kind of like where like maybe your bra would sit. So yeah, it definitely feels a lot better, and I love it. It feels freeing. It's not so heavy. So maybe something you've done new to start the new year. Maybe it's something new with your physical appearance, or maybe just something new you obtained. But I love starting the new year off with something new, being new, right? And second point is that the book, right? My book that I have been working on and editing now for 8 months. I had a meeting with my editors on New Year's Eve, and we are going to set up a date at the end of January for the launch date, so that it will give us a goal and where we need to get to. So that's something I'm going to be fasting about. I have so many dates in mind, but I don't really know what God's date is, and I want to do it on his timing. So look out for updates for that. I'm super excited about that. And then I will be jumping into my second book, which will be more of like a guide. And that one is a lot shorter, so it shouldn't take me much time to do that. And I will be working with the same editors. So I'm hoping to release that one in 2025 as well. And then my last book that I've been working on is also kind of a guide, but it is free, and it's going to be an ebook. I have the book done, but getting it on platforms, getting everything going, emails, like it's been a lot trying to get the systems, because I'm using a different system than where I have my actual platform. And so it has been weeks of trying to get it configured with all of this background of technology that I'm not too bright in, and I'm okay with that. It's just not my thing, but I think I finally got it figured out with support help from the new platform I'm using. And so I'm hoping by this month I will be able to release it to you guys so you can have a guide. And it will be talking about toxic belief systems and how to get out. Because that was once me living in a bunch of lies, a bunch of belief systems that were not from God. And so I'm really praying on that to get out and build an audience and just help women, help it. And it could be for men too, but my audience is more with us, And that's my journey right now as a writer. I've got one more class before I apply for my nursing school. And so it has been a tortoise, slow and steady pace, because I have so much else going on. So I can't just go to school full time. I've got to take it in little increments. But man, I'm already almost at my last class. It's taken me 2.5 years to get through my prereqs, and then at the end of May, I will then figure out what the process is to apply for the nursing program. And then life's going to take a different toll there, and I have no idea how I'm going to work and go to school. I have so many questions in that area, but I know who holds the answers, and I know I just got to seek him for it. So as we step into 2025, let's commit to striving for excellence, giving ourselves grace, and staying connected to God. This year isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, doing our best, and trusting God with the rest. If you're starting a fast or have goals for this year, I'd love to hear from you. Share them with me. Let's encourage each other on this journey. Thank you for joining me today on Her Divine Journey. Until next time, remember, you are loved, you are chosen, and with God, you are more than enough. All right. Toodles!